Hello everyone and welcome to the podcast for Not Ready to Make Nice Part 2. Right off, I had to start with saying that this episode to me wasn't really that good. It did have some good moments, but compared to Part 1 is my favorite of the two. In the main storyline with Claire, I found it pretty interesting that weed was what was the shocking, secret. I don't know what I was really expecting for that. I figured Teen Nick would make a big deal out of it and it would be something, like silly and, nobody would care about it. I mean, at the same time, I guess weed isn't like, the most shocking thing, but, and when they did show it, it was kind of like, oh, wow. And also with Claire, her mom kind of, I mean, not that she didn't want her, because of course at the end of the episode, her mom, of course, wanted her back. She just wanted Claire to go on her own a little bit, and, she knew she would eventually come home, but it was kind of sad the way her mom was kind of like, you should stay with your dad, but at the same time, like I said, her mom just wants Claire to be happy, and, this is a tough situation for someone to go through. So it's understandable, why both of them said and did the things they did. Claire and Jake are good as friends. They're funny together. They have good chemistry in the terms of, being friends. They act well together. The Fiona and Imogen storyline, they kind of dropped in this episode. I like the setup more of it in last week. I was kind of hoping that Imogen would have kissed Fiona. That would have been interesting to see, but next week's promo will be about Imogen and Eli. Like I said, Fiona, Imogen, and Eli, they have good scenes together, but it's nothing that special. I mean, tonight it was just, they weren't bad, but it was just, kind of blah, like the setup. I like that Imogen called Fiona Fiones. I think that was the first time that version of her name was used on the show. And then Connor, I really was a fan of, Connor in last week's episode. And this week just kind of, I saw some people already, early response on Twitter and stuff that they seemed to really like it. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was probably, I liked it more than the Fiona, Imogen, Eli stuff, and maybe slightly under, the Claire stuff tonight. It just, I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it. I mean, there were good moments, and I did kind of like that Mo and Connor worked together in the end. I still don't really care for Mo, but he was tolerable this episode. One of his rare cases where he is actually tolerable. But, I don't know. Tonight's episode, just things seemed a bit too rushed. I mean, for the Claire storyline, I would have liked maybe if somehow she was involved in the weed, maybe not actually selling it, but, been at the house longer, and I think they could have pushed Claire, staying in that house to all kinds of different things. I mean, they could have had that be a recurring thing throughout the rest of the season. Claire each week, is, diving more into this, world of weed, and eventually she becomes a crazy drug dealer. I mean, is it realistic? Over time, if you surround yourself around the wrong kinds of people, I mean, anything is possible, and they obviously didn't want to go that way with her character, and I'm not saying they had to take it that far, but I think that there was more they could have explored with that house and that setting and with those people, and I think they ended that, too soon. That's about what I got for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you could leave a comment on the YouTube page or like the video, let me know what you thought. If you have any questions, concern, or discussion, anything, we'll talk about it on the YouTube page. Thanks so much for listening, and I will talk to you all soon.